see on the picture, rectus sheath is the content along with the superior and inferior epigastric artery. Next is inguinal canal. Have you aware of this? So the extent of the inguinal canal is from the superficial inguinal ring to the deep inguinal ring on the anterior abdominal wall. So I said superficial inguinal ring is a deficient area on which muscle? External oblique muscle. What is the deepermost layer of the abdomen? Transversalis fascia. So deep inguinal ring is the deficient area on fascia transversalis. You should know where the rings are present. It is an oblique canal present on the lowermost part of the anterior abdominal wall, which extends from the superficial inguinal ring to deep inguinal ring. Now you should know where the rings are present. First layer is skin, second layer is cremastic, carpus fascia and scarpus fascia. Next is muscle layer. Muscle layer on the lowermost part, it forms opening, two openings. One on the external oblique aponeurosis, that is the superficial inguinal ring. Deep inguinal ring is present on the fascia transversalis. Fascia transversalis. So it has an anterior wall, posterior wall. So it has anterior wall, posterior wall, roof, floor. Something like a box, you remember. That is very easy. Anterior wall, what is present? Anterior wall, what muscle? First muscle. Rectus femoris, rectus will not come to the inguinal canal. That you eliminate. It is on the center. Other three muscle, external, internal and transverse. Only these three muscle. Okay. It's an oblique passage on the lowermost part extending from superficial inguinal ring to deep inguinal ring. Superficial inguinal ring is on external oblique aponeurosis. Deep ring is present on the aponeurosis of transversalis fascia. It is a fascia present deep to the third muscle. So anterior wall is formed by external oblique. Next muscle is internal oblique. Remember, internal oblique will come to anterior wall, roof, floor. So clear? Triplet relation. Anterior, roof, floor. Anterior, roof and floor. This you should remember. So anterior wall, first layer is skin, second layer is superficial fascia, third layer is external oblique, fourth layer is internal oblique. These are the layers of anterior wall. I said floor already. What we included? Internal oblique. And I already told you, infolding of the external oblique forms a ligament extending from anterior superior iliac spine to the pubic tubercle. That ligament is called as inguinal ligament. So inguinal ligament is on the floor. It is present on the floor along with which muscle? Internal oblique. You add up, don't say external oblique at that level. You have to mention inguinal ligament along with internal oblique. So floor is over, anterior wall is over, roof again I said, arched fiber of internal oblique. Arched fiber of internal oblique. What is posterior? What muscle we left? Transversus abdominis. Deep to that what fascia? Transversus fascia. So that completes the boundary of the inguinal canal. It consists of so now you trace on the picture anterior wall, posterior wall, roof and floor. I said anterior wall, first is skin, superficial fascia, next is external, next is internal oblique. You understand, right? So see this area, this is the posterior most layer, transversalis fascia, transversalis fascia. So remember triplet relation of which muscle? Internal oblique, which forms anterior wall, floor, roof. So should I repeat once again or shall we move with the next one? Should I repeat? Inguinal canal. Yes. Anterior wall is formed by skin, superficial fascia, two muscle, external oblique and internal oblique. This is anterior wall. Posterior wall is formed by innermost muscle is transversalis, transverse abdominis muscle. Fascia covering deep to it is transversus facialis. Floor is formed by inguinal ligament and internal oblique. Roof is formed by internal oblique. So at three areas you can see which muscle? Internal oblique. Inguinal ligament is on the floor. So what would be the content of the inguinal canal? Spermatic cord in male and round ligament in female. Round ligament is a ligament of the uterus which is holding the uterus in position. So spermatic cord is the content of inguinal canal in male. In female it is round ligament. So what are all the content of the spermatic cord? Number one, vas deferens, lymph vessel, genital branch of genitofemoral nerve, testicular artery, artery of cremaster, pampiniform plexus of veins. So these are all the content of spermatic cord in male. Spermatic cord contains, spermatic cord extends from the upper part of, from the epididymis, which is taking your sperm above, right? So vas deferens is the main structure, the muscular organ which is extending from the epididymis. Will deal along with the testis that. So the content of the spermatic cord are ductus deferens, lymph vessel, genital branch of genitofemoral nerve, and testicular artery. Now, what is the common applied we have to remember in understanding inguinal canal? Inguinal hernia. Inguinal hernia. So what are all the types of inguinal hernia? It can be a direct one or indirect one. First, we'll define what is direct. What is direct? Indirect, if the hernial contents are through deep inguinal ring, then to the inguinal canal, then to the superficial inguinal ring, then it comes to the scrotum in order. It enters deep inguinal ring on the fascia transversalis fascia, the omentum along with the intestine. Then it comes to the inguinal canal, then it comes to the superficial inguinal ring, then it enters the scrotum. So that type of hernia is indirect. If it is from the posterior wall, it protrudes into the superficial inguinal ring, it is called as direct. It is called as direct. Now to differentiate it, we have a triangle called as inguinal triangle, otherwise called as Hasselbalch triangle, which is formed by the lateral border of rectus abdominis muscle medially, below by inguinal ligament, below by inguinal ligament, laterally by the inferior epigastric artery. This is lateral, this is medial, this is below, a triangle. This is the left side of your body. Here you get the umbilicus. Can you imagine, right? The triangle is bounded medially by the lateral border of rectus abdominis muscle. Below, so lateral border of rectus abdominis muscle. Below it is inguinal ligament, laterally by inferior epigastric artery. If the content are through the triangle, it is called direct. If it is lateral to the inferior epigastric artery, it is called indirect. Okay. Again, this direct is divided into medial direct and lateral direct. So presence of an embryological remnant on the triangle called median umbilical ligament, medial umbilical artery, which is on the Hasselbalch triangle, that divides the triangle into medial part and lateral part. We know if it is through the triangle, it is direct hernia. If it is towards the medial aspect of the remnant, it is medial direct. If it is lateral to the remnant, it is called lateral direct. So indirect is only one, which is from the deep inguinal ring to the superficial inguinal ring. Direct is from the posterior wall of inguinal canal. Posterior wall is transversalis fascia, next is transversus abdominis, then it comes to the superficial inguinal ring.